In the evening, a group of people gathers on a boat for a party. They sing and dance together as part of the celebration for the Highland Games in Scotland. But unlike the others, Shannon, who is Daphne's Scottish cousin, looks uneasy, as if she is afraid of something. The others quickly try to calm her down. Meanwhile, the Haggard brothers, eager to prove who will be the winner of the competition, jump into the lake to race each other. They think it is just a game, but danger is already lurking beneath the waters. Suddenly, the Loch Ness Monster appears, terrifying everyone on board. Shannon shouts for Angus and Colin to swim back to the boat so they can escape. But the anchor is stuck on the rocks, leaving the boat unable to move. Shannon pushes the engine to its maximum and the boat tilts to one side from the sudden force. Everyone jumps off just before the boat crashes into a large rock. Fortunately, no one gets seriously injured. At that moment, the dock owner, Mr. Duncan, appears and announces that it has come. For 1,000 years, the Loch Ness Monster has surfaced at night, disturbed by the noise of the Highland Games. The next day, Mystery Inc. sets off for Blake Castle, the ancestral home of Daphne's Scottish family, yet Scooby-Doo and Shaggy do not seem thrilled at the thought of facing a monster there. Fred insists it is only a hoax to attract tourists, but Velma disagrees. She truly believes in the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. After all, 2,000 people claim to have seen it. A creature first mentioned in 540 AD, nearly 1,500 years ago. To reassure the group, Daphne explains that Shannon will hold the Highland Games somewhere else instead, perhaps even as a beach party, which immediately lifts Scooby-Doo and Shaggy's spirits. Later, as the gang drives into a thick fog, Fred stops the van since he cannot see the road clearly, but Scooby-Doo thinks they have already arrived. The moment he steps outside, he comes face to face with the monster and quickly spins around in panic, trying to warn the others that the Loch Ness Monster is real, just as everyone spots it moving beneath the surface of the lake, because he is so absorbed in looking around. Fred doesn't notice what is in front of him and falls down. Everyone has no choice but to push the mystery machine up the cliff. But the breathtaking beauty of Blake Castle distracts them, so it takes a while before the gang finally manages to pull the van back onto solid ground. The first thing that catches their eyes is the scene of people preparing for the Highland Games, a competition that brings together traditional Scottish sports. If eating and sleeping were part of the games, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy would surely win first prize. Nearby, a sunken boat draws the gang's attention. They rush over to take a closer look, and there Daphne unexpectedly runs into her cousin Shannon. Tagging along with the gang is an amateur reporter named Dell. 20 witnesses have seen a truly enormous monster, so this whole area must be fenced off as evidence, he says. Dell believes the noise from the Highland Games has disturbed the creature, which is why it has appeared here. But Mr. Lachlan, who is the father of Angus and Colin, insists people are just exaggerating. He tells them to relax, certain that his sons will win first prize in the games. After snooping around, Dell warns Shannon about the monster and then leaves. Shannon leads the gang on a tour of Blake Castle, which holds more than 800 years of her family's history. Within these ancient walls, countless thieves have tried to break in only to meet the same fate. Shannon also recalls the terrifying events of the previous night. Something moving incredibly fast beneath the water, appearing and vanishing as swiftly as the wind. Not only that, the monster keeps making frightening sounds in the dead of night. Suddenly, a storm of heavy rain and strong winds forces Shannon to shut the window, and in that fleeting moment she sees the Loch Ness Monster with her own eyes. Hearing the story, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy only want to go back home. Shannon thinks it might have been just a dream, but Professor Fiona disagrees. Velma realizes that Professor Fiona is the author of the book The Loch Ness Monster. Even though proving the creature's existence has destroyed her career, Fiona never stops trying. When dinner time comes, Velma bombards her with questions about the Loch Ness Monster, while Scooby-Doo and Shaggy only wait to see what food will be served. When they see the dish of sheep's stomach, which doesn't look appealing at all, they quickly push it toward each other as neither wanting to eat it. Suddenly, a log flies in and a man appears. Mr. Ian is the main judge of this competition. Velma realizes that he is also the director of the Scottish Museum of Natural History and the author of the book Monster My Foot. According to Ian, the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster is nothing more than a marketing story. It is not real, so he does not believe in it. But Ian does not expect to meet his former assistant, Miss Fiona, again. She has spent all her time searching for the Loch Ness Monster, which causes him endless trouble. In the end, Ian is forced to fire her. Shannon notices the tension, so she tells them both to set aside their differences and enjoy dinner later when it is time to sleep, but Scooby-Doo's stomach keeps growling. Shaggy has no choice but to take him outside to look for food. But Blake Castle is so old and rundown that strange little creatures keep appearing, scaring Scooby-Doo and Shaggy into running out of the castle. Out of the frying pan into the fire, it starts raining. Not only that the Loch Ness Monster shows up, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy have to keep running. Even after they reach the top of the tower, the monster shows no sign of stopping. It smashes one side of the tower, making it collapse right on the competition grounds. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are lucky to escape unharmed, but the Loch Ness Monster is still right behind them, so they have no choice but to keep running. Before long, they are cornered. Scooby-Doo refuses to give up, so he grabs an iron ring to fight back. The result is that he gets launched into the air and the iron ring slams straight into the monster's head. Thanks to that, the monster retreats, leaving Scooby-Doo and Shaggy in panic. The two quickly tell everyone what happened, and Velma soon discovers the monster's footprints. When Mr. Ian sees that the traditional Highland Games area has been destroyed, he is very furious, even though Scooby-Doo and Shaggy insist that the Loch Ness Monster was chasing them. He refuses to believe it. On top of that, he decides to leave right away. This is exactly what Scooby-Doo and Shaggy want, so they call a taxi to take the three of them away. But halfway through, Mr. Ian throws Scooby-Doo and Shaggy out of the car. He then tells Shannon that if she does not fix the competition in time for the scheduled day, she should not expect him to come back. Meanwhile, Velma discovers that the monster's footprints do not lead to Loch Ness, but instead to the neighboring town. Fred realizes that the group is faced with a new mystery to solve, and Shannon remembers that they can head to the next town early in the morning to find a contractor to fix the problem. As soon as the sun rises, everyone sets off on their journey. Along the way, they meet the innkeeper, Mr. Lachlan, who is training his two sons. Fred notices them practicing with Loch Ness Monster balloons and thinks that Mr. Lachlan must believe in the creature. He does not deny this either, since the Loch Ness Monster has brought many tourists to his inn, which benefits his business. Mr. Lachlan notices Shannon and immediately asks what wind has brought her there. She frankly explains the incident from last night, leaving Mr. Lachlan both surprised and bewildered. However, their immediate problem is repairing the area where the traditional Highland Games are held. Nearby, Dell catches sight of some photos of the Loch Ness Monster. His journalistic instincts kick in and he is eager to visit the site of the incident. After Dell leaves, Mr. Duncan suddenly appears. He holds the record for the most sightings of the Loch Ness Monster with 41 confirmed encounters. Being the owner of the marina, Daphne asks to borrow a boat to go searching for the monster. Only Professor Fiona's old boat is available, so the Mystery Inc. has no choice but to agree. Mr. Duncan also warns them not to go looking for the Loch Ness Monster. Don't go looking for trouble if you don't want trouble to find you. The gang inspects the boat and discovers that it is still functional, but there are only 4 life jackets. Therefore, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy will use the mystery machine for transportation. Everyone sets off to explore the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster, while Scooby-Doo and Shaggy leisurely travel in the mystery machine. During the ride, Shaggy even demonstrates to Scooby-Doo his unusual skill of driving with his feet while eating. Unbeknownst to them, they have already been followed by villains. As a result, the two soon find themselves entering a dark and eerie swamp forest. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang attempts to use radar to locate the monster, but the equipment is too old to function properly. Although Shannon knows that Professor Fiona's research funding is limited, she does not expect it to be so scarce that she cannot purchase any new equipment. But something moving very fast catches their attention. Realizing that the Loch Ness Monster is approaching, Fred immediately puts his plan into action. However, he does not expect it to be so strong that it can pull an entire boat. After a few turns, the monster changes direction. Although Fred drops the anchor, he still cannot hold it back. As a result, the boat's engine explodes from overload and the Loch Ness Monster escapes. At the same time, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy start feeling uneasy as they move through the forest. The Loch Ness Monster's footprints create a patch of quicksand which traps the mystery machine. Scooby-Doo glances ahead and sees a giant shadow. Luckily, Shaggy realizes it is only the shadow of a salamander. Seeing the salamander makes Scooby-Doo want to chase it from place to place, and in the process he ends up seeing the Loch Ness Monster with his own eyes. Scooby-Doo is terrified and retreats, accidentally pushing Shaggy over. Not only that, he warns Shaggy as he pushes him into danger. Fortunately, Shaggy's legs respond at full speed when he sees the monster, but when Scooby-Doo notices the situation is still risky, he scoops up Shaggy and runs with him. Although he has good intentions, Scooby-Doo does not pay attention to what is above, causing Shaggy to fall again. With no time to turn back, Scooby-Doo accelerates and picks up Shaggy once more. He then drives the mystery machine to escape from the monster's grasp. Scooby-Doo drives straight ahead, and the result is that both of them are launched into the air, landing on the boat of the rest of the group, a truly backbreaking maneuver. Afterwards, everyone returns to the spot where Scooby-Doo and Shaggy had seen the monster. The traces of the monster's escape are still fresh, leaving no doubt about their path. Yet to their surprise, the monster's footprints suddenly turn into tire tracks. With no new clues to follow, Mystery Inc. is forced to leave empty-handed. They apologize to Professor Fiona for damaging the boat's engine, but she does not blame them, knowing that everything was done in the interest of research. Meanwhile, the area where the traditional Highland games are held is repaired by the two Haggard brothers. Suddenly, Scooby-Doo notices something appearing in the Distahitch is Judge Ian's boat. It seems someone has started to believe the story of the Loch Ness Monster. Do you think I would easily believe in such nonsense, Fiona? I only want to ensure the safety of the playground by patrolling this lake. Hearing this, Mystery Inc. immediately asks for a spot on the boat to investigate the monster. Then everyone is on the boat to patrol. With the advanced equipment, they can simulate Loch Ness Lake for easier tracking. Soon the monster appears, but it quickly disappears again. Velma guesses that it might be hiding under a water cave. Coincidentally, Mr. Ian has prepared a submersible. Mystery Inc. is eager to dive, so he allows them to use it. Under Fred's guidance, everyone quickly turns on the radar to search for the monster. Soon they find the water cave where it is hiding. Fred immediately maneuvers the submersible into shallow water. Here, Scooby-Doo suddenly finds a bone, but he does not expect it to belong to a human. Now Mystery Inc. realizes that they are not the first people to set foot here. This is a cemetery of ancient Scottish warriors. If that is the case, there must be a secret passage leading back to the surface. During the investigation, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy do not forget to act silly, while Velma finds a screwdriver and wonders where it came from. Seeing the Loch Ness Monster, Shaggy immediately tells everyone to focus on the important thing first, which is to run away. But Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are trapped. Shaggy instructs Scooby-Doo to fight bravely like a warrior. However, while their hands are still trembling, the monster bites off the sword, following the principle that in the 36 strategies, running is the best policy, so they continue to flee. The Loch Ness Monster does not let its prey escape easily. It quickly blocks the front and causes the submersible to malfunction. Fred has to stay calm and carefully control the submersible while the monster chases closely behind. Luckily, as soon as Mr. Ian sees everyone, he immediately orders a rescue. By evening, everyone returns to the mainland to rest for the next day's competition. But Velma says it is not over yet because too many mysteries remain. Right in front of her, someone is snoring inside the mystery machine. Del hears the chatter and wakes up. He explains that someone stole his car, so he came here. Finding no one, so he can only sleep in the back of the car and wait. With so many mysteries unfolding, Mystery Inc. has to solve them immediately that night. Velma tries to contact Professor Fiona for help but cannot reach her. Fred is driving when he suddenly sees the monster appear in front of him, so he hurriedly turns the wheel to another spot. A chase between the Loch Ness Monster and Mystery Inc. begins. While escaping, Fred accidentally crashes into a house. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy see the monster chasing closely and try to help, but it seems they only make things worse when they accidentally make the monster angrier. Seeing a swamp ahead, Fred quickly steps on the brake. However, the monster has no intention of stopping and it falls into the swamp. Realizing something is off, so Mystery Inc. approaches to check. As a result, Del's car suddenly appears right in front of them, but it is empty inside. The tire tracks match the ones they found in the forest. Everyone immediately speculates that there must be two monsters to be able to move both underwater and on land. However, Velma suspects that someone is pulling the strings behind this mystery. Then Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are assigned to act as bait to lure the monster, while the rest of the team is responsible for setting up and placing traps to capture it. Suddenly, a dense fog appears, making it impossible for Velma to observe Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Not only that, as soon as the monster appears, McIntyre, a monster hunter, betrays Mr. Ian because he wants to capture it to earn a huge amount of money. He plans to use the classic method of shooting the Loch Ness Monster. Meanwhile, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are still wandering in the middle of the lake when the monster suddenly appears without them noticing. As soon as Fred receives Velma's alert, he immediately takes action. He also does not forget to inform Scooby-Doo and Shaggy that they are on top of the monster. Fred instructs them to try to stay calm while he looks for a way to rescue them. Before Fred can act, both of them slide down the monster's back. Velma's plan is ruined when Mr. Ian's boat damages the trap. While being dragged along, Fred is given a lift by Del. Meanwhile, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy manage to run back to shore before the monster can catch them. McIntyre orders his subordinates to prepare harpoon guns to recapture the monster. But Daphne and Shannon cannot allow the villain to run wild, so they find a way to intervene. Both jump on the subordinate as soon as he fires, causing the boat to veer straight toward the shore and throwing everyone into panic. Fred and Del are luckily unharmed after the collision. Seeing that Mr. Ian cannot swim, both of them bring him lifebuoys. Witnessing the Loch Ness monster with his own eyes, Mr. Ian finally acknowledges that it is real. Fortunately, Daphne manages to control the monster in time before it can harm Mr. Ian. At the same time, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are being chased by another monster. They quickly run toward the previously set trap but forget to dodge to the side. Seeing their friends in danger, Daphne controls a monster to knock down the other one. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy seize the opportunity to escape. They do not expect that the people inside the monsters are actually the two Haggard brothers, while the other monster is Professor Fiona. The next day, Velma explains everything. Professor Fiona had hidden the monster under her boat to deceive the public, and the research funding had been invested in designing these two monsters. But everything Professor Fiona did was for only one reason: to gain Mr. Ian's attention and trust. She wanted him to believe in the mystery of the Loch Ness monster, but could not wait until it appeared, so she faked it. Professor Fiona even hired Angus and Colin to help with the plan. The mystery is solved and everyone immediately organizes the traditional Scottish Highland games. Everything goes smoothly until suddenly Mr. Ian appears looking panicked. It turns out that the broken camera from the submersible had taken these pictures, which confused him. However, the depth of the shots was really too deep for the submersible's capacity. Velma takes this opportunity to ask Professor Fiona to show the pictures she had taken, and they perfectly match the ones from his camera. In the end, Mr. Ian apologizes and acknowledges to Professor Fiona the existence of the Loch Ness monster. Moreover, he invites her and Del to become his assistants to facilitate future investigations. Then Mystery Inc. leaves, acknowledging that the mystery of the Loch Ness monster is truly terrifying. Velma feels lucky that they did not encounter the real monster. Perhaps some mysteries are better left unsolved.